Hey guys, it's my Xbox 360 collection video, and let's just jump right into it. And stay tuned till the very end to find out what my favorite Xbox 360 game of all time is. Alright, so let's just go right for it. So first one we have here is Left 4 Dead. Now Left 4 Dead is by far an amazing zombie killing game. It's very basic, but it gets right to the point. There's no fat to this game. You start with your friends and you just go from point A to point B. That's all it is. Shoot them in the head, make them dead. That's how you play Left 4 Dead. All in all, really great game. Amazing to play with your buddies online or couch co-op. Great to play online too as the Infected. One of my favorite zombie games of all time. And that just brings us right to Left 4 Dead 2. Same game as the first one, really. It's more of DLC. There's a couple new Infected with it, but not a whole different game in general. Still fun, though. Recommend both of them. Alright, we have Mafia 2. Honestly, this game was a big disappointment for me. The story is just kind of basic and bland. The characters, same. As far as the gameplay goes, it doesn't feel very polished. It's very clunky and very sluggish. And the world itself is not very lively. It's big, it's open, but there's nothing to do in it. Very disappointed by this game, unfortunately. Yeah, I bought it at full price when it first came out. Yeah, not really much more to say about this, unfortunately. I don't recommend that. Alright, we have the Mass Effect trilogy. Now, I've only played a little bit into the first Mass Effect and a little bit into the second Mass Effect. And honestly, I don't know really what the hype is behind this. I find the gameplay to be very bare bones, and the story is not engaging for me from what I played so far. And again, I've only played maybe 4 hours of the first one and maybe 2 hours of the second one, and I just can't seem to get into it. I do want to complete the first game just to know whether I do enjoy it or not, or maybe that it will hook me later on. It's kind of like what Breaking Bad was. I had to finish the first season of Breaking Bad to really start to enjoy it. So I'm hoping maybe Mass Effect will be that way. I will finish the first game one day, maybe this year. But all in all, I'm not impressed by the series, unfortunately. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Just not for me so far. But speaking of games that are for me, Red Dead Redemption 2, an absolute beast of a game. Complete Rockstar at its finest. It was one of the first games that I've ever played to take the Western genre and basically it's almost like to the level of a feature-length movie, like a big Hollywood blockbuster. Red Dead Redemption, great story. Gameplay, if you ever played a Grand Theft Auto, it's not much different in terms of gameplay. Just the setting and the story has changed. And honestly, Rockstar, I think, can get away with it because the setting and the story are so engaging and so immersive. The characters you relate to, the environment, it makes you feel as if you're a cowboy. Its atmosphere is on point, and really, I recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Really good game. Can't praise it enough, honestly. And that brings us to its DLC, Red Dead Undead Nightmare. This was fun. I really enjoyed this. This is back when Rockstar actually used to make like quality single-player DLC instead of now where it's all just based around GTA Online. And I don't have a problem with GTA Online or Red Dead Online. I just wish we would get more expansions like this for people who do enjoy the single-player aspect of the game. For those who don't know, this is almost like an Elseworld story of Red Dead Redemption 2, where zombies, a plague has taken over the state of New Austin, and John has to stop the dead from coming to life. All in all, it's really fun. My girlfriend actually hated it. I don't know why I'm with her, I know. No, it's a real good fun game. Honestly, perfect to put on a rainy night, especially in October as it's getting close to Halloween. Put you right in the mood for the spookies. Alright, and here we are with Saints Row 2. Really fun game. Probably, in my opinion, the best story of the series. It just kind of blends where I think Saints Row kind of works with it blends a story that takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. Whereas later Saints Row games, I feel, started to get too far onto the wacky side and not enough onto the serious side of their story. Like, it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, a story that is dark and gritty and takes itself too seriously, but I would just like a little bit more tension, because that's what Saints Row, I think, had in the first few games, is they had a little bit of tension to it. Not so much in the later games. The later games are still fun, just different. Except for Saints Row 4, that game was trash in my opinion. Saints Row 2, though, really good story, fun customization. Yeah, all in all, improvements over the first one, that's for sure. And now we have Saints Row the Third. This is where the game series started to take a different turn, or not a different turn, but lean more towards the comedy angle. I think they balance it well in this game with making the comedy more upfront. I was disappointed in this game because it just didn't feel like the other ones in terms of the factions that you had to fight against didn't feel different at all. They all just kind of felt like one big faction. I know they kind of were, but I preferred having the different groups and the different stories. I don't remember anything about this game's story, unfortunately. I've only played it twice, too. But I did have some good laughs in this game. There was a level, I think, where you're falling out of the sky in a tank and you're shooting all these other tanks out of the air. I've never laughed so hard in a game in my life. So, Saints Row 3, check it out. Really fun stuff. Yeah, here comes Saints Row 4. I thought this game really was a waste of potential. Basically, it takes Saints Row and it combines it with Crackdown, where you have all these superpowers. And that sounds like a fun concept, but then you realize that they really didn't do much different than Saints Row the Third. It almost feels like this should have been a DLC expansion. The story is just boring. A lot of the missions, actually, they just disguise them. They're actually side missions, and I'm really disappointed by that. And there's some aspects that once you get, like, I think it's the super speed, there's no reason to drive a car anymore, so that makes the vehicle aspect of the game completely obsolete. Yeah, so I'm not really that big of a fan of this one. You know, it is what it is. I would like them to bring back the Saints Row series, though. Maybe do like a Saints Row 5 and kind of blend the worlds of Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 3 together. That type of style, I think that would really rejuvenate the series. Alright, so you guys heard me talk about this in my PS3 collection. Skyrim. I'm just gonna retread on what I said. Really great game, great RPG elements. It's the way I describe it, it's the Coca-Cola of RPGs. It's very basic, but I like that because I'm not the biggest fan of stats and mining and really like honing in on your character. It's more of like I like the Skyrim aspect of you use the skill, you get better in it. Really recommend checking it out. I mean, it's on every console if you haven't checked it out already. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Go play Skyrim, but come back here. Alright, we've got The Walking Dead Season 2. There's not much really I can say about this one because I don't remember all that much about it. The first season I really enjoyed. Second season I didn't enjoy as much. I think it was just because the character we switched to Clementine, which is fine, but I feel like as a character I had more trouble relating to her than I did with Lee in the previous game. It wasn't bad, I don't remember disliking it, it just doesn't stick in my memory anymore. But check it out if you've played the series, of course check this out. Uh-oh, here we go. So, this is an oldie. You can even see by like the sticker peeled off here. So it's Smackdown versus Raw 2007. This game right here was, honestly, taking the nostalgia goggles off, this game sucks. They really wanted to make the game a little bit more realistic, so they add the stamina button and the chain grappling, and honestly, I don't think any of those gameplay elements made the game any more fun. If anything, they hindered your enjoyment of it. This is the last game with my favorite wrestler at the time, Chris Benoit, so I still hold on to this in a nostalgia kind of way, but as far as wrestling games go, this is probably one of the worst in my opinion. WWE 12. I actually thought this was a real good step in the right direction for these games. The only thing I would say that this game has a flaw with is that it doesn't do enough to make itself stand out. The career modes were great, the filming modes were great, because as you guys know, I'm a filmmaker, so I always liked making little short films and little feuds in their, I guess, feud mode. I can't remember what it's called. But no, this had some real fun matches. Me and my buddy Alex, who I've had on the Puff Puff podcast, we've had hella fun moments playing couch gaming on this and beating the shit out of each other. Quick story, we were playing Hell in the Cell once. I was Brock Lesnar and he was Michael Cole, and he tossed me off the cell through the table like Mick Foley. And we were just laughing, I swear to God, for 25 minutes. It's great. If you ever find this, it's good. Honestly, though, it's no different than any of the current titles out there. So, take that as you will. All right, here we go. Fallout New Vegas. This is my favorite Fallout game for the reason being it's got some great side quests, but the story, I think this is the best story Bethesda has done so far. And it's a very detailed game with how characters react. If you decide to kill a certain character, hours later, in a different part of the map, there's a guy who will remember you or know you as the guy who did that. The world changes to how you play. And honestly, this is where I think the Fallout series needs to go back to. I enjoyed Fallout 4, but I feel like they need to go back to this in-depth style of gameplay. All in all, great freaking game, that's for sure. Alright, Far Cry 3. Not much I can say about this. No different from any of the other Far Cry games. Honestly, the gameplay is pretty basic. It's a first-person shooter. But it is fun just to flick it on and, tear around the island for an hour or two. I didn't end up finishing the story. I probably got like 2/3 of the way through and then just kind of lost interest. And I find that with most Far Cry games, is that's how I kind of just play it for a bit and then just peter out, unfortunately. Still fun. Alright, we've got GTA 4. This game, what can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? I got this day one, and I absolutely love this game. It's such a blast, such a great story. I've lost many hours to this game. For a long time I had a tradition that every summer I would restart this story. Haven't done it for a few years because I don't have the time anymore. But all in all, this is, I think, the best story in a Grand Theft Auto game with the best main character. Niko Bellic has a lot of depth to him and a lot of sorrow in his past, and you can really get that from not only the performance but the writing and the actions and the choices that you are put into, because this was the first GTA game for a while that gave you the choice of, okay, sometimes there are missions that build up to, do you kill this person or do you kill this person? And you have to make that moral choice, and this game hits it out of the park. Really do recommend. And just to go on top of that, we have the episodes of Liberty City, which is the Lost and Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony, which are two add-ons. This is again when Rockstar used to make quality add-on content. Just real quickly, I love the atmosphere of the Lost and Damned, but I love the gameplay of Ballad of Gay Tony more. Both of them have their pros and cons, honestly. This was well worth the price of both DLCs. And funny, I bought these originally digitally, and then I had lost my hard drive, so I bought this again for $20, and it was well worth it, because I knew that these games were quality stuff, so all in all, I was happy with it. Oh, my game collection just fell over. GTA 5, this game I enjoyed, but I was rather disappointed with it. I thought the story in GTA 5 was really weak, because I understand that they had to make the time to fit in all three of these main characters, but they didn't give these three main characters, in my opinion, a satisfying antagonist to go up against. At the end of the game, and spoiler if you haven't played it, but it's like almost 8 years old now, that you have to kill all the people that have been wronging all three characters throughout the game. Some of these characters, this is their first and only appearance, is that mission at the end of the game. So you don't really get a satisfaction of beating your villain. Not like in GTA 4 where you have the satisfaction of, okay, you killed Dimitri, or in San Andreas when you finally killed Tenpenny and Big Smoke. These guys, I don't even remember half of these people's names. And some of these guys aren't even killed by their own respective protagonists. For example, I think Michael kills Franklin's villain, Franklin kills Trevor's villain, and I think Trevor kills Michael's villain. So, I really didn't like the switch up on that. Gameplay is fun. It definitely does a lot of things better in terms of like the driving than GTA 4 did. I really wanted more heist missions, and I wanted more missions in the heist that were gave you more variety, because there are some heist missions that only have one way of doing things, and I don't like that. I like the idea of having multiple different ways. All in all, I enjoyed this, but I was disappointed with it. Alright, we got the OG Halo 3. This was my first Halo game that I played, and I wasn't a Halo fan until I started playing the multiplayer with my buddies, and it was hilarious. And it introduced me to the world of machinima and kind of started me down my filmmaking life. So yeah, honestly, Halo 3 has some great memories with me. I remember playing with my buddies, beating the last mission in Halo 3 on Legendary with the skulls on, using the ghosts, driving over that exploding planet, I guess, falling off all the time. It was a great game. Story, I didn't really care. I don't care for the stories in Halo, but the multiplayer is where it's at in this game, and all in all, great. Really wish the Halo games would go back to this style too, this style and this look. Halo 3 ODST, honestly, I just bought this to get the recon armor. I played the campaign, and honestly, I never went back to it. I really couldn't care less about this game. Not much to say, honestly. Halo Reach, disappointed by this. This was the first major title after Halo 3, and honestly, I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the gameplay of it. It just kind of felt sluggish. It felt like a step in the wrong direction, in my opinion. And that has kind of plagued the Halo series for me for a long time. That's why I haven't bought any of the new Halos. So Halo Reach, really indifferent on. Godfather 2, love this game. It's not the best in terms of gameplay, but as far as I'm a big fan of anything gangster or mob related, big fan. So I really enjoyed the hell out of this game. If you're looking for an adaptation of the story from the movie, it's not here. It's bare bones, and I mean that. There are barely any moments from the movie in this game. But I did think it added a good aspect of the Dawn mode, where you could manage your empire. I thought that was a real fun experience. Gameplay was fun. Basic. This game is a good way to describe basic but fun. Halo 4. I played this. I don't remember anything about it. I never ended up finishing the campaign. All in all, a real letdown for me. The Hitman Collection, honestly, I just really bought this mostly for Hitman Blood Money, because that was the only way I could get it. And it was worth it just for Blood Money. I mean, Silent Assassin and Contracts. Once you play Blood Money, it's like you're going backwards in time, and where they didn't have quite as many gameplay elements as they had. So I really don't go back to play those. But Hitman Blood Money, absolutely an amazing time. Man, these things are some dusty. I haven't touched these in a while. That's kind of disappointing. But check it out, though. It's got some real cool art books and stuff to go with it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I had lost many hours playing this game. The multiplayer was great. I remember playing the story. Not too much to say about that, unfortunately, but the multiplayer was absolutely awesome. This is when I was at my gaming, I guess, peak, where I would be playing this all the time. Yeah. How many times have I challenged people to a 1v1 on Rust? I don't even know at this point. Great game. Check it out. Black Ops is where I started. This was after Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Was not nearly as fun as that one. It was fine. It just didn't have I guess it just didn't hook me as the other ones did. Not a bad game, though. Just not there. Modern Warfare 3 I thought sucked. It was a real letdown. It didn't do really anything different. I think that was the problem. Yeah, not much I can really say about this. Crackdown 2, fun game. Only played it once. Really, the funnest part about this game wasn't the story or the gunplay. It was just catching the agility orbs. And yeah, there wasn't really much else to say about this game, and that's why this series kind of died. It just didn't do anything. Dead Rising. Now, Dead Rising to me is a quintessential game to own if you have an Xbox 360. It's absolutely a blast. It's simple. You're trapped in a mall for 3 days, and you have to survive, figure out what's going on, and you're infested with zombies, and anything and everything can be a weapon. It is absolutely great. The story's fun. It's a cool mystery trying to figure out what happened. It's a buggy game, but it is well worth the playthrough. The characters, he's pretty basic, but you're playing this game for how many different ways you can kill. And I've played this game many times over the last, 10, 11 years or however long I've owned it. I've never been bored playing this game once. Dead Rising 2, it tries to do more with what the first game had, and honestly, it didn't just do it for me. I feel like they kind of hit their peak with the first game, and the second one tried to do things different and just couldn't. It just didn't hit home for me. Not a bad game, just not for me. I recommend the first one over the second one. Fables 2, my girlfriend played this. I played this before. I was not a fan of this type of game. It felt too, I don't know, it just didn't spark my interest. But yeah, what can you do? Fallout 3, great game, absolutely deserves Game of the year it won it. Really great side quest. The main quest is the only thing I have a problem with this game. It was not that good. Yeah, not much else I can say about this. Really fun though. Check it out. This was the game that I think obviously brought Fallout into the mainstream. The Walking Dead, great game, fun story. Not as good as I remember it though. I feel like this game happened to be a product of its time because after just playing this and then playing The Last of Us and other games, this game's story isn't as strong as I think a lot of people remember it being. It's not bad by any means. It just doesn't live up, I think, to how a lot of people remember it, in my opinion. Alright, Batman Arkham Asylum. This game is absolutely amazing. I remember when it first came out, a lot of people were very hesitant on it, myself included. And then the reviews started coming in and the gameplay, and it looked fantastic. Great story, great atmosphere, launched an entire series. Honestly, this game might be the best in terms of setting and atmosphere. The gameplay is great, and all in all, if you're a Batman fan, or if you're just a fan of games in general, I recommend checking that out. Batman Arkham City, this is where I think the games may have peaked in terms of story and environment. They expand it from the first one. Instead of you're just in the asylum, you're in this big walled off section of the city that gives you more free roam. The story is great. They have the Catwoman add-on, which, the problem with this game though, I will say, is that the fact that the Catwoman sections of the game are, if you didn't pre-order them, you didn't get that section of the game, which basically it's just locked off content that's already on the disc. This is when that DLC, those scummy companies started pulling this, squeezing the customer for everything they had. So that's one thing I do resent about this game. Great game, just the business practices behind it I thought were shitty. Arkham Origins, the weakest of the games, but in my opinion has the best concept. 8 assassins come to kill Batman on Christmas Eve. Real great idea. They just didn't execute it that well. Because I think out of the 8 bosses, 4 are actually, 2 are side quests, 1's a training, and the other one is a one-punch hit. So I think that is kind of bullshit in my opinion. Yeah, all in all though, it was a fun game. I like the voice acting because it's different from the other ones. They use different actors, and I think they nail it out of the park with this. Bully Scholarship Edition, this game is a classic. This is a Rockstar title that takes the GTA formula and puts it in a school setting and tones it down for a teen rating. Honestly, this is a great game. Fun story, fun atmosphere, just absolutely doesn't take itself seriously. It's beautiful. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is an amazing game. Everybody who's ever played this, I've ever felt, has loved this. Really revolutionized the first-person shooter, in my opinion. Just putting it in the modern setting just is what everybody was wanting, because at that time the market was oversaturated with World War II shooters. So I'm glad that they decided to make this jump. It was the jump in the right direction, and everybody loved it. World at War, Call of Duty World at War. Fun game. The only problem I think with it is it came out after Modern Warfare, and that was the problem, is that nobody wanted to play World War II on the heels of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So that was the only problem with this game. Alan Wake, interesting concept, never finished the story. The gameplay, I don't know what it is, it gives me a headache, almost like motion sickness. Yeah, I can never make it past the first mission on this. I don't know what it is, it just doesn't do it for me. Alright, now we got to my favorite game on the Xbox 360, and I know some of you are going to be like, what? Why is this your favorite game? Well, let me show you. Saints Row. Now, Saints Row was the reason I bought an Xbox 360. I saw the gameplay and the customization of it, and it just absolutely struck a chord with me. I wanted to play this game. It reminded me so much of a GTA San Andreas, just with updated graphics and cooler looks. And I'll be the first to say, this game is not perfect. There's bugs everywhere. The music is garbage. The story is basic. It's a GTA clone through and through, but it holds a special spot in my heart, especially with the multiplayer, the Protect the Pimp mode, the blinged out ride mode, the fact that you could get in with your friends and just chill. This is when I first started getting into online gaming, so it holds a special place in my heart. I met some of my best friends through there. All in all, Saints Row, in my opinion, is the best Xbox 360 game, and it's exclusive to the Xbox 360. Alright, and that's all. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what games you guys enjoyed on the Xbox 360. Tell me some of your memories. I love hearing about that stuff. I do read your comments. I might not respond to them all, but I do read them. So until next time, guys, keep on binging.